Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 831, The Man Behind the Forged Helmet, recorded live on August 18th and 20th, 2022. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Duststorm.
I'm your other co-host, Godzilla T.
And we're going to have a little bit of a shorter show for the live stream part, but for those that are listening via download, you're going to have a special treat from a recording that we'll be doing this weekend with Installation 00 and getting a little update on his Mjolnir armor project that he's been working on. So,
Ooh, beans.
Look forward to that a little bit later in the podcast. But for here tonight, we've got a couple of new Halo things to talk about, and then we'll be off for a couple of weeks from the live recording podcast. I have, for those who know him, Ace, that will be here on Thursday, and it will be his wife's birthday, so we're going to be treating them to dinner next Thursday for her birthday. And then the next Thursday, I will be in Seattle for PAX. So y'all get 2 weeks without me. So don't burn the house down while I'm
just
gone.
Wrestled Ace onto the podcast.
I mean, there'll probably be some shenanigans that we will get ourselves into and probably record and put something up. So we'll probably do something. But
no, really? Shenanigans?
Yeah. And plus, we've got a kind of a he's a little bit more free on Saturday, so we might do something. I don't know if you're around Saturday. We could do a Saturday fun podcast type thingamabob or whatever. We'll see what happens.
Maybe.
Anyways. We've got a new community spotlight up for this month. We've got the latest come around of Fracture Entrenched going on, week 4 of 6. Just started a little bit earlier this week. And a couple other small things to get to before we get to the interview part. But first of all, let's do a little bit of a Podtacular recap. GT, how was Fraggin' Friday?
It was actually really good. We had a lot of fun. Started out in Tactical Slayer.
The politically correct way to say it, I guess.
Had to go there, didn't you?
Merry Christmas! That's my guess.
Anyway.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
We did wind up in Big Team. We had a lot of fun. Seems like everybody was enjoying the time in Infinite.
Very good.
Was it... as the night went on, my playing got worse.
Start off on the high and then it just slowly...
No, it wasn't so slowly.
It's like
good game, terrible game.
It's like you hit Bomber's Peak real quick and then you quickly go down the other way. You should
Crash and burn, baby.
Like playing video games. Like you start off strong and then you just go...
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually just looking at my... stats for last week, and the stat goes like this up, and then it boom to the basement. Yeah, no, it kind of stayed up there. Kills went down, deaths went up.
Right. Very nice. And then I saw you had another little play session on your own channel as you were testing out some things.
Yeah. I downloaded the OBS 28 beta. Wanted to kind of get a feel for it. And I did about an hour-long stream on my own channel, just playing some Infinite, seeing how it reacts. So far, I'm liking it. Right now, there's a lot of the different plugins that I use that are not available yet because they have to be updated for OBS 28. But... if you're interested, I do recommend that you get on YouTube. There are several people out there talking about it that dig into more detail about the changes that are made. There's some stuff that were in OBS 27 that you had to have a plugin to do that they have now integrated into OBS 28. So, like I said, if you're interested, I definitely would recommend checking it out. I would recommend, if you're going to install it to test it,
Export all
find
your
out how to.
profiles and scenes.
Well, first thing you do, well, it kind of all depends on your profiles and scenes. First thing you need to do is look up how to install it in portable mode, because it will override your existing OBS 27 install, even if you install it in a separate folder. So look up how to install it in portable mode. It's not that hard. There's 2 different ways to do it. You can go to the OBS forums and it shows you exactly how to do it. And it's pretty much a copy paste is all you have to do. But yeah, I enjoyed it quite well. I was going to try the virtual cam tonight, but I ran out of time to set it up before podcast. And I really didn't want to part with it anyway.
I mean, that kind of stuff usually takes some time to troubleshoot and get right.
Well,
so
it's
all good.
Well, like I didn't have to adjust it tonight or anything. Like, anyway, yeah, for some reason the Zoom got screwed up on my virtual camera. I don't know what it is. Anyway,
you just digitally did it with your OBS going to Skype, and you were having fun with it.
I just blew up the picture.
Right.
Is all I did. Just scratched it out. One of the good things, this is one thing. One of the good things about OBS 28 is if you stretch something beyond the preview, you still get lines. So you can still stretch.
Well, you got that in 27 too.
Nope. Once the line goes out of the preview window, you have to move the picture over to grab the line again.
Huh. Oh, to actually grab it. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would show up, but you couldn't grab it. But all right. Yeah, quality of life improvements definitely helpful.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it set up.
And I see you've also tried your hand at shorts as well.
Yes, I did. I reposted, and excuse me while I move my picture so my chin is not behind my name tag.
I need to make those name tags a lot smaller.
Oh, it's fine. I fixed. Anyway,
well, I plan at some point to actually make the vertical portraits instead of horizontal portraits. So I do plan on doing that. I just gotta get my button gear to do that. Anyways, go on.
Well, maybe I don't want to rotate 90 degrees. Anyway, yes, I did put up a short on my personal channel. I reposted my Stuck It short and actually made it a short this time so it can be seen on mobile. And so far, it's actually pretty amazing how many people have already watched it. Let me check here real quick.
That's nice. My first one did well. My second one got nothing. I checked the other day. My second short had 6 views. So yeah. My first one did really well. My second one flopped. So I need to upload another one and see if it does any good or not. We've also got, let's see, Pins was also streaming some Halo campaign earlier this week. And we've got I Am Him posting another little video that he's done. He's posted quite a few of them. I think he does some of his own just kind of like montage type things and other little video clips. So he's posted a couple of videos in there. So go on over and check them out.
Yeah, I actually got 70 views in 3 days.
Not bad. Not bad
at
all.
That's like world record for me.
Yeah, I get it.
I think the only videos I have more than or have 70 views on are videos that have been up for years.
I still get views on my ODST achievement guides and then the Halo 2 Mjolnir versus Gungnir soundtrack things. Oh yeah, it's still at 6 views. As for achieving Halo, that did not happen because I had a scare with my computer. I restarted for an update and my computer just would hang. And I would check the hard drive LED indicator and it wasn't flashing for like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's a problem. So I hard shut it off and started again and it didn't happen. So after that, I smashed F8 and then it said preparing automatic repair. After about 2 seconds, it went to black screen. No hard drive LED. I'm like, well, crap.
Yeah, I'm sitting there eating dinner and I get a ding. Well, crap.
So on a whim, I just turned it on. I'm like, maybe Windows is one of those tizzies where it just needs time to just sit and think. So I powered it on yesterday morning, started logging into my work computer since I work from home, and after I got that back up, I'm like, oh, there's my logon screen. Okay. After like 5-7 minutes of it just kind of sitting there doing its thing. So apparently I wasn't patient enough.
Just rolled back to Windows 98 on his home computer. That's what the part he's not telling you.
So no kidding, I have a Windows 98 VM just so I can play some old games.
Hey.
So
for a while there, I never could get the 98 one to work right. But
I'm using VirtualBox. I don't know if that's...
Well, this was on my Android server, so.
Oh, okay.
But I had ME, and everybody asked me why. I don't know why, because I had I had the discs.
You had the disc, yeah.
I had XP Media Edition.
Oh, yeah, that was a thing.
Yep. I had Windows 7 Home and Windows 7 Pro running.
Okay.
Then for a little while, I had an Android VM running. Never could get that to work correctly. It's a pain to remote into Android without paying someone for apps. I want to pay somebody for that.
I mean, there's several different solutions out there to remote.
Yeah, I tried several of them and I never could get any of them to work correctly. Keep in mind, this is a virtual Android device, so it didn't play well. But yeah, right now I have one VM.
Okay.
I have a Windows 7 VM, and that's just so I can keep using my accounting software because I'm stubborn and don't want to change.
Fair enough.
It's isolated from the internet, so
yep.
No inbound traffic from the outside the building.
It's interesting going on the Windows 98 VM, and of course IE doesn't have SSL support with how old that is, so there's only some websites that work with Internet Explorer. And I haven't downloaded Firefox to that yet, but for websites that do run on just an HTTP connection, it dang fast.
Yeah.
It really fast.
Yeah, it's one thing I got about websites. It just seems like the faster the internet connections get, the slower websites load.
Well, it's because most websites you're actually reaching out to 20 different servers for one page.
Like I said, it's
content
the faster
networks.
our connections get, the more crap they try to download. You know, it used to be you went to a website, you got that website.
You got text.
In text with, like white background, that's it. If you wanted to watch a video, it was going to take you 10 minutes because you had to download it first.
Yep. Oh yeah, technology has changed. Broadband and security, copyright, advertisers, you name it. Anyways, well, we strayed away from this for a while, but needless to say, there was no Achieving Halo this week because my computer decided to have a tizzy. So we'll try again next week. Anyways, so that's it for our little community corner. For the official Halo news type stuff, we talked about the Spotlight earlier. If you want to go check it out, halowaypoint.com. Lots of cool things in here. I really like the couple of how they have some of the feature ones. They actually have a gallery now.
Mm-hmm.
So the first two by Sleepy and then the next three by Low Poly NPC. And just having that gallery view is kind of really cool to be able to highlight multiple pieces from one person. So that's really cool.
I like Spartan Clippy.
Yeah. The plasma grenade candle was pretty cool. The little 3D painted mini diorama stuff was really cool. And the other one that, like, there's a couple more that really stuck out to me, but I think I've met the guy who made the real life-size Master Chief. I think I've met him at some convention somewhere because he looks familiar. Yeah. And like, this is pretty legit. I don't know how long it took him to make the Infinite version of Master Chief, but it's pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like it's almost straight from the game. Thank you, Pins, for the
There
link, as always.
is a lot of talented people out
There
there.
really
And patient
is.
people, because that takes a lot of patience.
That takes a lot of time and even more talent. Oh, I got a response back from Stream Elements support.
Yes, we know it's broken.
Oh, thanks for your contacting us. Our bot is currently down. Our devs are investigating the issue and it should be resolved in the near future. Cool.
See?
So it was
It's
down.
Stream Elements' fault, not ours.
They said, keep an eye on our Twitter. Well, your Twitter didn't say jack, Stream Elements. Thank you.
Twitter didn't tell us it was broken.
Exactly.
That's the first place we looked.
That's why I opened the support ticket in the first place. It's because I looked everywhere I should have looked. I was a good consumer of product and actually checked all the places first. Anyways. Nope, sounds good. Hey, got a timely response, so that's
Yeah.
A plus for you on that, Stream Elements.
No kidding.
Really liking that. I'll respond to you after the podcast. The other one I thought was really cool was the don't know if this was pastels or watercolor, but the prone to drift, then the little speaker chip.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
that
one.
was cool. Yeah.
The other one I liked was the Hunter and the ODST.
That one was really cool. It's like almost real life, but
it almost got me.
It almost got me too.
Almost.
Because I looked at the Spartan first and I'm like, okay, that looks real. But then I looked at the Hunter and I'm like, the shading on that is too sharp to be real.
What got me was the worms.
I mean, like
the orange, the worms.
Okay. But yeah, it almost fooled me, but it's, I mean, rendering technology has just gotten that much.
Really good camera work.
Yeah. I like the little bayonet attachment on the commando as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little customization touch there. So that's the spotlight. Like we mentioned before, Fracture Entrenched 4th week is now out. There is the Eagle Strike Armor Core that you can get on your way to unlocking. I just checked. I am at level 13 out of 30 on the Battle Pass, so I'll be grinding away at that a little bit this weekend. And then we've also have part 3 of the last Sky Marshal part out now. So that's going alongside this Fracture Entrenched event. So part 3 is out. Part 4 will be, I guess, coming out for the next week after people have a chance to read the story and then vote for their next influential step. And then we'll get part 5 as part of the finale. So head on over to Halo Waypoint to check both of those out. On the playlist side of things, I haven't checked this quite yet, but I believe they tweeted what the MCC one was going to be for this week, and I'm delaying because, there's more Halo gear. There's more Season 2 Halo gear that's out.
More Halo gear!
Oh, that's cool. There's actually a couple cool things on here, now that I'm looking at it. MCC is Escalation Slayer. So that's what's come to MCC. There's is that new? There's a Xbox Game Pass Ultimate perk for the VK78 Commando Lean Green. Don't know if we've talked about that before. Anyway, it looks like there's a Game Pass Ultimate perk. If you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, head on over to your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate app on your console or the Xbox app on your PC. Claim it, and then you can redeem it to get a nice, cool green skin for your Commando rifle. But yeah, there's a couple of things on here for the, looks like Season 2 specific, some new HCS merch as well that they've released. All this is over at gear.xbox.com. And yeah, so that's everything going on there. Question for you.
Purple.
Not quite an answer that fits with the question I was going to ask, but
blue?
I did buy the cookbook.
Okay.
Should we have a review corner of trying some recipes and reviewing some recipes from the cookbook?
No, because I don't like cooking that much. I mean, if you want to, go right ahead.
I mean, like, I would, like, Well, I was going to offer if like you wanted to cook them and both of us could cook them at the same time, but I mean, I could cook them and then talk about them.
If you want to do that, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm just.
Would people be interested in that? Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or in the Discord. I'll wait the 2 weeks while I'm away to see what people think about it. But if you all would like for me to cook some of this stuff and see what it tastes like and give some honest feedback about it, I will do that. Surprised Laird's in here not talking about, well, why don't you do the journal first? Anyways. So that's all we've got Halo-wise for the night. Not a lot of community stuff going on either. So for those on the podcast...
We need to see a funny apron, Confel says.
I mean, I have 3 different aprons. I don't know if I have a funny apron. Which one? I've got one that's Alton Brown. I've got one that is just a gray one. I have a couple aprons. Need to see a funny apron. So I guess I'll have Melissa video record certain parts of it and then maybe make that into a short or something for Podtacular channel. I don't know. Oh, that'd be an interesting little series. do little cooking shorts for the Podtacular YouTube.
And tonight on Podtacular Cooking.
Gotta come up with a cool title for that. Anyways. So now it's time to pop over to our interview with Installation 00. So, Installation 00, welcome back to Podtacular. It's been
a while.
It's been a little bit. I can't remember. Did we have you on in 2020 or 2021? I don't remember which year it was. COVID messed everything up.
2020. Yeah,
time wise.
I think it was 2021.
Okay,
so it's been a year. At least.
I think it was just before you hit 100,000, just before the face reveal and all that jazz.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So, how's it like being a free man?
Feels like yeah. It feels a lot longer ago than that. But yeah, it's especially like it's. I think it's weird. It's the inflation as well. So it's like a year ago. It took me two and a half, nearly 3 years to get to 100,000, and now I'm pushing 180,000.
Yeah.
So another 20,000, I'm at 200,000. It's like what?
Right. You're almost there to the That's great.
It's wonderfully freeing. Obviously, people now know the face behind Installation 00, and it's also opened the opportunity up for me anyway to open a few other channels as well. So I've got stuff going on elsewhere now where my mug is more in the public eye than it has been previously. But yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
No kidding. Hero Timo, to the date, I don't know if you found this or if you actually remember this, Hero, but May 10th of 2021, so a little over a year.
Wow.
I'm assuming that's UK notation, not US notation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Timo from my Discord. He's one of my mods, but I remember when he first came in, he started. He was like our own personal Google. If we're having any chat, he was literally just on it,
that's
feeding
cool.
through information. So
that's cool.
He's now just doing it with me. I've become the subject.
There you go. Hello there, Prestige. Hello there, Gingerhead. Thanks for coming on over.
Hey guys,
we've got a special treat because we had, I think, just talked about this project, or like you were just getting around to it when we had you on the podcast last year.
Yeah,
and now it's been about a year. You've come quite a ways to prototyping and putting some things together.
Yeah.
So how's it been over the last year? Have you lost any hours of sleep yet? I'm still impressed on how crazy your schedule is with building Mjolnir, having your YouTube videos, and now you're live streaming too. I don't know how long you've been doing that, but I've noticed you've been live streaming too. So what's been up the last year?
Yeah, I've lost more than a few hours of sleep. Yeah, it's a busy schedule. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of the time, and it's just it's always a juggling act between everything I've got going on, family life, and everything else. But I've managed somehow. Yeah, I've made ridiculous progress considering the scope and scale of the project.
Yeah,
in a year. And there's been some turbulent times. I've taken great joy in reversing the opinions of the very vocal people early on who were naysaying the project and what I could possibly do with it. And yeah, just it's been a hell of a time, as I'm sure you know, for a fan of Halo, for the Halo community in general.
It's been up and down
for the past year. It's been a hell of a. I mean, we've seen some really, really. I mean, we've seen some great moments, but we've really been dragged through the muck on more than one occasion over this past year, and that's tough to see as someone who's so entrenched and involved with the community. But all in all, yeah, I'm in the position I am, and I'm very happy. I'm very thankful and grateful for the position I'm in, and yeah, things have been going well.
Very nice.
So,
and it seems like all the lore video is still doing very well. I see most of your videos are still in kind of the 70 to 100K range, which is pretty good.
On average, yeah, it's pretty good, yeah.
And then the obviously we'll probably want to get your quick thoughts on Halo Infinite, but also the Halo TV show, since you did your Gold versus Silver timeline series as well.
Yep.
But I want to give the floor to you a little bit. What's been going on with Project Mjolnir? What's been going on with YouTube?
So YouTube's been diversifying. As I said earlier, I've got some additional channels now which have come online. I've got 4.
Which again, how are you managing all of this?
with great difficulty. No, I'm managing to distribute my time quite well, and a couple of the channels are more not low effort. That's the wrong term.
Do not take as much time to.
They don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
produce.
So the likes of Installation 00, the most detailed breakdowns, they require a huge amount of research and fact checking and collating and bringing all that sort of stuff together. So I keep that relatively reserved to just Installation 00 and my second channel, the Lawcore Multiverse, where I do similar stuff but with different franchises.
Yep.
That's relatively high energy. But then I've got the 00 Lounge, which is basically me
chilling,
chatting about whatever the hell it is that I fancy chatting about at any given time. That involves sometimes I just record some weekly Discord calls because we get into quite interesting conversations that I just like to give air to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just me holding a camera in front of my face and yeah, talking about stuff that interests me. And then I've got Ambient Wonders, which is where I'm doing audio tours, so to speak, of different levels from different games. I'm starting with Halo, but I'm going to branch out over time. And it's similar to what you get with just ambient sounds, where people just stand in a level and listen to the sound. They'll record an hour video of just that loop sound. Similar to that, but it's an audio tour, so that I make all effort to walk through the levels slowly and quietly enough, while also trying to make sure enemies aren't a big, a big thing and a distracting factor.
Yeah.
And allow the ambience of the different sections of the level kind of carry people through and get people to fall asleep to it or study to it, or whatever the case may be. And I've been known to do a little bit of Gregorian monk chanting on occasion as well. There's one just coming out soon, actually, which is the Sacred Icon Suite with just me. So that'll be interesting.
A man of many talents.
Yeah. So YouTube's been doing very well. Like I say, big juggling that, but Mjolnir is a different kettle of fish altogether. I mean, I sort of had a feeling it was going to be a big thing when obviously we last spoke about it.
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared for it to capture people's attention and the like. And it started at a really high peak where loads of people were intrigued, or it was being talked about a lot, and then it tapered off quite dramatically while I was just sort of getting the raw materials together and just talking through how I was going to go about doing it. And I suppose because the public at large hadn't seen any big delivery, so to speak, of a big breakthrough, so interest drifted, I suppose, organically off.
Yeah.
Until April, just gone, which marks the year that I actually announced the project, and I revealed the helmet in its current build state, and that went huge. The video clocked 107,000 views only a few days after it uploaded, which is one of my better performing videos. It's been the tweets about it have been liked and retweeted by ex-Bungie employees, including Marcus Leto, the father of the Master Chief. It's been retweeted and liked by current employees of 343 Industries. members of Microsoft, members of the HoloLens, because obviously the HoloLens is a big integral part of the build, and it's been covered by a journalist as well. So we've had like a sort of a story done on it as well, and it's just snowballing now. And obviously it's by definition it's public funded. It's a crowdfunder.
It is, yeah.
So I'm trying to be as transparent as humanly possible on what the money's being spent on and how it's being spent. I'm trying to make every pound and penny work as hard as possible. And we've made some miraculous sort of development over that time, but there's some really big things coming. So,
well, and just from what you've worked on so far, like you said, there's still a lot of that kind of modeling and prototyping to really do early on. So the fact that it makes sense to take a while to get to this point where you actually have something physical. But I think it's just really cool to see, someone's actually kind of making, like, because we've seen the life-size statues, we've seen cosplayers. So this is like taking that to this is the peak level that we've ever seen it at. So it's just all of our nerd synapses are firing.
The nerdgasm is happening. But there's some huge things on the way. I mean, the most recent video I put out was like a helmet showcase, because the helmet is nearing, not quite, but it's nearing completion. The only things left to do on the helmet now really is to refine the HUD. Speaking of which, literally about 4 or 5 hours ago, I received the most recent build of the HUD software package from Crater, a guy who's helping develop the HoloLens HUD package, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I started it up and it did the little boot ups text thing that we see in Halo Infinite. And it even went above and beyond, and he added in the shield recharge sound as it was going through to really give you the feel of like Mjolnir starting up.
Cool.
That's looking fantastic. I'm looking forward to giving the HUD a bit of a showcase, because the HUD's becoming much more complex. So it'd be great to go through that. Obviously, the next big thing for the helmet specifically is the shell of the helmet is going to be 3D printed on a direct metal laser sintering printer in titanium grade 5. And the frame that we've built inside of the helmet to actually support all of the additional technology and components inside of it is going to be machined on a CNC mill out of aluminium 7075, or an aircraft's grade aluminium. It's an alloy extremely strong, but extraordinarily lightweight. So they're the next big things for the helmet. But we've also got, I started this journey very, very quickly after the project went live. I started by developing the environment systems. So a body heating and cooling system. The heating system was carbon fiber, carbon fiber heating pads, and the cooling system was a liquid cooled system that uses Peltier heat pumps to drop the temperature of the water that little bit lower. So it gives you about 15 degrees centigrade worth of fluid flowing around the torso to keep you cool. And the heating warms you to about 40 degrees centigrade, which is about the same as a warm bath.
Okay.
And that covers all of your torso, your hands, and your feet. That is all being integrated into a 1-to-1 remake of the Spartan 4 BDU that we see in Spartan Ops. I had to acquire some assistance with that because I'm useless with a sewing machine and a needle and thread. I've seen the near finished product. It's had to be adjusted in size because I've been on a bit of a fitness kick and I've been working out, and my chest has gotten bigger, so they had to adjust a few things. But it looks fantastic. If I rocked up to cosplay wearing this thing, it looks so legit. It's unreal.
That's incredible.
And all that needs to happen is when I get that, I just integrate the heating and cooling system I've developed here into the inner surface of it, and that's where we're pretty much squared away. It's also got all of the built-in sensors for tracking my heart rate and general biometrics, as well as various other little sensors to keep an eye on sort of the overall body temperature of me and regulate a few other different peripheral systems.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm so looking forward to showing people that.
And is that a lot of stuff that will, because you're primarily working on the helmet first.
Yeah,
And then obviously you'll have the rest of the armor that kind of goes with it. Obviously, the helmet being kind of probably the more tech intensive part of it.
definitely.
I'm assuming there's probably going to have to be iterations where connections between the helmet and the suit will need improvements, updates to the HUD, and all that stuff. So is that something that you kind of planned out as far as, okay, I know I need to account for these things from the armor connecting back to the helmet, so you've given some wiggle room in design for later, or
Yeah, that's right. So the what's great about the guy I've got on board with developing the HoloLens HUD system is he's extremely skilled in Unity and the Unity engine, and the HoloLens application runs on the Unity engine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Happens that that Unity has additional modules and features you can bring online that allow support of Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and a few other different microprocessor platforms. So it's basically a case of a software solution to link hardware systems together. So it's a little bit of like, gentle tweaking to get them to communicate happily, but it's doable, more than doable. So the systems inside of the BDU, so for example the heart monitor, obviously because the whole goal of this is to develop as close to lore accurate version of Mjolnir,
of the technology we have today. Yeah, right.
We can't make energy shields. That's a problem. So because of that, rather than having the energy shield bar at the top of the HUD, we're replacing it with a live readout of my heart rate.
Okay.
So the recharge bar that would be the shield in the center of the HUD will actually be my sine wave heart pulse going through, which will be quite interesting.
Okay.
And some interesting design considerations have been made along the way in the design and style and things like that in order to get certain things to happen.
Gingerhead seems pretty confident you'll figure out the energy shield soon enough.
Yeah, eventually we'll get there. We'll get there. It's the fusion I'm scared about. But the design considerations in changing things and tweaking things as we were going. I mean, the outer shell model was designed by Maker, who's present on Twitter and Instagram and a few other places. He hand created the Infinite helmet based off of the concept art of Halo Infinite before Halo Infinite launched.
Okay.
We started working on this, sort of April last year,
right.
before Infinite had actually launched. So he started, creating the helmet from just images and footage that we'd seen in the trailers so far. With his help, we fleshed out the internal geometry for all of the frame that goes internal to the helmet. Obviously, that never existed before.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have used, for example, just a Mark 6 helmet model from Cosplay, for example. But the issue is that you still don't have that geometry inside that allows for all the electronics that were necessary for the helmet for it to actually facilitate its function. So we had to flesh that out from the get-go. So we made a frame that was as lightweight but as strong as possible. We hybridized the design, so there's inspirations of Mark 6 from Halo 3. There's clear inspirations of the Halo Infinite helmet. There's also small, subtle design inspirations from the Mark 6 mod from Halo 4 and Halo 5.
Okay.
And obviously, we've also made some very clear changes to the mouthpiece that match now more akin to the Halo TV show. Because it made logical sense for us for the communication system. So in order for us to talk out loud and actually be able to be heard, you need to put a communication system into it. So we put a very high quality speaker directly behind this mouthpiece. We could have done it on the actual normal faceplate like you get on this helmet here, but it would be difficult to get the sound out. And the problem is that the proximity then of the speaker to the microphone unit inside meant you just get constant feedback. So we had to separate the two chambers effectively to enable it to actually work. So, and the decision to put the HoloLens into it was initially not on the cards. Initially, it was going to be that we were going to develop our own proprietary augmented reality system using laser-based pico projectors like this.
Okay.
And initially, obviously, that would have involved the expense of the hardware, because a laser-based pico projector is about £200 per unit, and we'd need at least two. Yeah. Then we'd need all of the additional
Software.
hardware to actually support it. We need a microcomputer built into it. We then need to develop the software, proprietary. The realization then is once you start racking up that cost, it could probably come in cheaper than what the HoloLens costs, but it's also the additional work and effort involved in doing that versus spending $3,500 on a HoloLens 2 and fitting it inside of the helmet and having all of that system already in situ, and all you have to do is develop the software. It was a trade-off of time and resources and cost, and personally, the parallels between the HoloLens and Halo became too eerie to ignore.
It might be deliberate, to some degree.
Yeah. I mean, the HoloLens has appeared in Halo Infinite marketing. It was in the Become trailer when you see Mjolnir being built. There's actually a scientist wearing a HoloLens in that. Obviously it provides augmented reality HUD overlay like you'd expect from Mjolnir. Even the Cortana assistant that's built into this thing is actually the Jen Taylor voiced Cortana assistant. Mm-hmm. So we actually do have the Cortana
in the helmet
as our little AI assistant, which is fantastic. Yeah. And when we initially got hold of CAD files for the HoloLens and its size, shape, and dimension in order to start planning how it would actually fit into the helmet, we lined the two models that we've got up that were developed obviously the HoloLens was completely separately developed to Mjolnir.
Yep.
When we lined them up, they fit perfectly.
Wow.
Like almost deliberately perfectly, which is why obviously it now sits. You can see the computational unit at the back here, the straps along the sides here, and then the actual HoloLens at the front here.
Wow.
And it all fit in, and it was just eerie. So we decided, well, that's a clear go-ahead as far as we're concerned.
It's like fates have aligned.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking now is obviously this looks so cool just as a prototype with the HoloLens in situ, although it has dropped a little bit because it's obviously made of the frame is made of resin, and the resin will obviously it's under loading. So it's where the HoloLens connects in the side up in the top here. This is actually given a little bit, so the HoloLens has dropped further than it should have.
It's prototyping, so it's
prototyping. Once it's made out of metal, it'll be more rigid and it won't do it. But it looks so cool to have this thing laid out the way that it is. That I kind of don't want to take the HoloLens out of it, but I also don't think I can justify spending another $3,500 on a second HoloLens. Right. So I'm kind of hoping, considering Microsoft, are one of the most powerful companies in the world, they might just kind of give me one. And I don't know.
And I think
wishful thinking, perhaps.
And did you tweet out asking for one that was deconstructed or something, so you could just adapt it to fit or something like that?
Yeah, so the thing with the HoloLens is it's got spatial sensors. The cameras that are on the top of the brim of the HoloLens allow it to detect its surrounding environment, and it's got infrared sensors in the center along with a camera that allow it to track things directly in front of it, including gesture control and things like that. Now, one of the big things we want to do, obviously, is merge this together with other technology. So the HUD has to have a targeting reticle because we see that in the games. The only way we can do that feasibly is to be able to track a weapon.
You need that front bar exposed.
So we need that front bar exposed, and the problem is that the infrared sensors struggle to see through a gold visor or a polarized visor in any degree. So what we really need to do is get a deconstructed version, or at least one we can deconstruct ourselves, so we can integrate the sensors and the cameras and the like into the helmet in a more comprehensive way. So we'd probably put the spatial sensors, for example, in the front faces of the brim of the helmet, and just integrate things a little bit better, so that then we also have a larger field of view available to us when we've got the HUD system in place. But it also then allows that infrared sensor to see, to basically bypass the visor. Mm-hmm. And that would allow us to put infrared tracking nodes onto the rail of a weapon. I've actually got some Nerf guns above me here,
like either the white dots or something akin to those.
Yeah, so it's very very similar to that. So effectively, we put two infrared nodes on the rail of the weapon with a known distance between the two. So say 12 inches between the two. And we tell the HoloLens that that's a known distance. Then the HoloLens uses its infrared tracker to find out the distance between one node and the other node and triangulate it, and that gives us our vector. And then from that, we simply tell the HoloLens to superimpose the targeting reticle onto that vector on roughly where the quote-unquote bullets were going to land. And then based on its distance to the target, because again the spatial sensors are detecting how far away things are, it changes the apparent angle or apparent size to the user of the target matter to give an idea of distance, so that it's easy to do things like that. HUD zoom is something we want to do and implement. That's quite straightforward, because again the camera in the center of the forehead, it's just a case of redisplaying what that camera can see on the HUD overlay in a zoomed aspect ratio. That's quite straightforward, but again the camera needs to be able to see clearly ahead of it without being obstructed. So there's loads of different functionality that would be massively enhanced by our ability to integrate the HoloLens more comprehensively into the Mjolnir helmet. And I'm there's the temptations there. If I absolutely had to, I would probably go out and spend another £3,500 on another HoloLens. But I don't, because again it's crowdfunded. I don't want to just chalk that up and justify it, so to speak, as a necessity. If perhaps we can convince the big dogs to kind of help us out.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. That will come with time, I hope.
Yep. It kind of reminds me a little bit. I'm sure you know of the YouTuber stuff made here. Yeah.
Yes.
I imagine some of the stuff where okay, once you get that targeting reticle, if you have one of the Halo Nerf blasters or something and you test it, and after the iterations of fixing the software and aligning it, and you finally hit it every single time where the reticle is saying it should go.
Mm. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's loads of things we want to test out, and it's. I think something that's become abundantly clear to me, and I want to do some more. I want to do some more videos where we dive into this with Project Mjolnir in mind, but actually not specifically looking at Project Mjolnir, but the technology that is out there and available at the moment. Because a lot of technology that's out there matches up with what you'd expect you'd need for a lot of the functionality that we see in game.
Right.
So the eerie thing for me is realizing just how close we are to being able to do this. And like I said, I take great pride in the fact that when I first announced this, I did have not a majority, but I had a lot of people say, yeah, okay, you're going to spend a ridiculous quantity of money on the world's most expensive cosplay, way to go. Or it's if all these companies like DARPA and this, that, and the other can't do it, then some dude on YouTube isn't going to do it either. And I've taken great pride in noticing or remembering some of those names that said that back in the day, coming back to videos and some recent updates and saying, I had no idea that you were actually going to be able to do this. And I was initially against this, but you're clearly demonstrating that you can do what you say you can do. And that's quite reaffirming.
When you've got the technical acumen to shut up your peers.
Yeah. So I'll let the continued progress of the project speak louder than my words. Yeah. But like I say, we're only at phase 1, and there's a lot left to do yet.
Well, and I kind of had this thought in the back of my mind, because I know for at least in the States, once you get to a certain part, if you're an astrophysicist or a physicist or a chemist or something, you start getting into the things where, okay, now you have to be written under NDAs because of special military type stuff. So I'm wondering if you're going to get to a point where it's okay, you're allowed to do this, but there's kind of military implications to some of this. So now you're going to have to underwrite some parts that might have to be NDA or something like that.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I mean, like I said, because I'm UK based as well, the laws surrounding certain aspects of this development process are fundamentally different. Yeah, but it also muddies the water. The project that I'm basing this off of is a Microsoft owned IP, and Microsoft is a US established company. It muddies the water in that I could have both angles coming at me simultaneously. That would be an interesting situation to find myself in.
You really won't know until you get to that point where someone starts asking questions should this be allowed?
Yeah. I'm hoping I've still got a lot of breathing room.
I think you've got well enough time, I think, before anything like that.
A lot of people have got access to linear actuators and servo motors and mini robotics and stuff like that. It's just a case of taking that and just upscaling it a little bit.
Well, you're not dealing with weapons, so
yeah. The closest thing to weapons we're dealing with is the Nerf guns, and really, the Nerf guns are sufficient enough to demonstrate a lot of the use case. Right. So yeah, I do have full intention. However, obviously, this is again, we're trying to make this as lore accurate as possible. So when the time comes that we actually do, and it's quickly approaching, we do make the helmet out of metal, I'm going to see about, even if I have to privately fund it, I'm going to see about getting a second helmet printed and made in titanium with the aluminium inner frame and the transparent aluminium visor and everything, made up for the purposes of ballistic testing. And I'm probably leaning on the idea of sending that over to Demolition Ranch.
Okay.
Because one, I've been a subscriber of his for a very long time, and I love the content. Two,
collaboration.
Actually, exactly. Two, I reference him a lot in regards to the ballistics of titanium specifically, because he did a video a while ago where he tested about 1.5 inches of titanium. I believe it was titanium grade 5. I might have to double check, but he tested that with every caliber he had, up to and including a 50 caliber black tip, which is the armor piercing 50 cal BMG round. Okay. And this plate took everything.
Wow.
And even the 50 cal, I mean, the 50 cal managed to gorge a big hole out of the front of it. There's no two ways about it. And if you were wearing that, it would have knocked him flat on his ass. Yeah. But there was a very small hairline crack on the backside of the plate, but it took it. So, and considering that the designs we're currently working with, it's irrevocably Mjolnir in its aesthetic, but we're also making slight design changes based on ballistics,
real-world application,
based on exactly. It still looks irrevocably Mjolnir, but the average thickness, bearing in mind it's also composite, the average thickness of the chest plate, for example, or one pectoral area, so to speak, of what will be the final design, will be pushing 2 inches of, it'd be a mix of titanium grade 5, Kevlar with shear thickening fluid, dilatant armors, and ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, layered in such a way to enable as good a ballistic properties as humanly possible. So if 1.5 inches of titanium grade 5 can take a 50 cal black tip, we're quite confident that the full 2 inches should stand up to that.
And is the armor that you're going to be making throughout, kind of, obviously you got the chest, the shoulder pieces, all the other pieces, is that all pretty much using the same kind of materials? You mentioned the titanium, the Kevlar, the aluminum stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more or less. And the entire thing will be mounted onto a very heavy-duty exoskeleton frame, so that by definition, the person wearing it won't actually feel the weight of all of that armor. And it is actually, oddly enough, going to weigh about 0.5 ton, which is, again, lore accurate. I calculated that from finding the molecular mass of titanium and then extrapolating roughly how much surface area we'd need in order to cover. Yeah, and it is more or less in the ballpark of about 0.5 ton.
Jeez.
But it's but we're also using extremely powerful actuator motors. In particular, there's a design we've just kind of worked together, and I've done some ridiculous levels of research to find what's out there already. But we've developed this actuator that, as far as I can tell, doesn't exist anywhere else. And we're just going through testing of it at the moment. We're getting units printed and tested to see if they can perform as we expect them to.
Okay.
And it's, from what I can figure, they don't exist anywhere else. So we were also, at the same time as trying to use real-world technology and what's available right now, we're also simultaneously making innovations in certain fields, which is something I wasn't expecting on doing during this process. But it's a happy accident.
Yeah, well, and it kind of goes along with your other goal of the project, is to make some like separate technology that you could like sell, or like to help either fund the project or just.
Yeah, another big aspect of Project Mjolnir is not only just to create as close to lore accurate version of Mjolnir as humanly possible, but it's also to reverse engineer some of that technology that goes into something like Mjolnir and make it publicly available. So the environment systems, the personal environment systems, I'm sure there are people out there who would love to have a skin tight, a form fitting suit, effectively, that can keep them completely warm in really cold
Cosplayers will be
environment.
happy with it. Military will be happy with it.
Exactly, really, really cool in hot environments. Cosplayers will love that. I mean, having a lug around the cosplay suits that they've got that they've lovingly made, but in blistering heat.
Well, some have like jerry-rigged their own thing.
Yeah, I've heard, yeah. But having something like that available at a reasonable price point, I'm sure would make a lot of cosplayers very happy.
Right.
But it's on top of that, again, one of the original plans was to have these laser-based pico projectors as the HUD technology. Now, we're not abandoning that in any great degree. It's just the HoloLens is offering a more complete package and an easier development curve.
Quicker prototyping as well, probably. Yeah.
Exactly. But the reality of these things is, I mean, the HoloLens uses 2 of these, and they're so powerful and they're so clever. It literally just uses 3 different laser diodes, the 3 different colors, red, green, and blue, and it uses a MEMS mirror to track the laser back and forth and build up an image.
Oh, okay.
Pixel by pixel.
Kind of how like CRTs
and it
worked back in the day. Okay.
Exactly. And it does it 60 times a second. So these things are ridiculously powerful. And by definition, I mean this is a heatsink here to keep the little control interface cool.
The heatsink for wow.
Yeah. But the actual unit that does the projection that actually makes the image is just this black piece.
What?
This you can see the 2 ribbon cables here. This piece here is the only part that actually generates the image. That's the actual lens for the for the projector there. So the plan is to reorientate this, move this to the end here because they're roughly about the same diameter. Put it inside a casing and connect this whole module then to a wide-eye chip, Wi-Fi for display, and that will connect to your smart device. Then what you can do, again, imagining this piece is at the front here, you could mount that onto a pair of glasses like so, with what I originally intended to use for the HUD systems, which is a refractive membrane. You can project a laser light onto this and it will refract.
Okay.
And because it's laser light, it's infinitely focused. So it's even with it being so close to your eye, it's not blurry.
Okay.
And then effectively all you do is you can link that to your smart device and have proprietary information like your notifications, incoming calls, GPS, text messages, displayed in your vision via a device that's just hung on the arm of your glasses.
It's like Google Glasses, but on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another thing we can do with the technology.
That's incredible.
And there's huge use case. I mean, even for the armor systems, like for example the Under Armour, what would be the titanium nano composite bodysuit in the lore, we're developing a similar system. Effectively, not quite using titanium nano composite that's 3-dimensionally woven, but it's but using composite materials, including Kevlar, carbon fiber, some microfoils, some polymerized microfoils, shear thickening fluids to create an Under Armour that's flexible but able to stop a larger array of caliber rounds.
Okay.
It's already been proven that three single sheets of Kevlar with a shear thickening fluid gives the same ballistic protection as 15 sheets of just standard Kevlar. So the plan of being able to take some of this technology and actually, hopefully, bring forward at least prototype designs or ideas for innovations for our current troops' body armor.
Yeah. So
that our guys in the field are protected better, but without being ridiculously expensive.
And the weight
may
burden
also
and
be another.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot of different dimensions to the project and different directions that we can go in, and I fully intend to explore every single one of them I possibly can, because if some of this technology can help make people's lives more interesting or safer. Or more interactive, bring people closer together, then I kind of have a duty to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's certainly a project that started with proportionally humble beginnings, but has quickly escalated to something wholeheartedly different.
Well, I think you had a pretty good kind of baseline to go with, at least kind of when we were on last year talking about. Like, you had the technical acumen to really understand a lot of the specifics going into kind of how you mentioned you figured out what combination of Kevlar, titanium, and aluminum you need, wear and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think just showing off what you've been able to make and just proving that you've got enough people behind you that are helping you along with this is
Absolutely.
uh
And there is a roll call video coming as well, because we do need a few other people that are more experienced in other certain fields. So there's still open opportunity for people with other experience and other knowledge and backgrounds to get involved as well.
how many folks do you
Keep
have
driving this forward.
working on this so far?
Currently 7.
Okay.
7 people, including myself. And they all come from different kind of backgrounds. So like I said, we've got a couple of guys who are working on the software side of things. We got Maker who's fantastic at the modeling and the engineering of the CAD files. We got Harbinger who's done his own research for many years in exoskeleton technology, and he's actually responsible for this this actuator that we've developed.
Okay.
That is as far as I can tell, this doesn't exist anywhere else. And yeah, we've still got open doors effectively to try to get other people on board who are particularly skilled in robotics. That's a very complex field in and of itself.
Yeah.
Particularly skilled in biometrics, sort of
bioengineering somewhere in there.
Yeah, bioengineering, picking up of neural impulses and things like that. And there's a lot of room for the team to grow. And yeah, if it keeps going the way it's going, I've got hope that it's going to get to a point where this might actually become quite a big thing. It might actually become similar to, if you think of the humble beginnings of like the likes of Hacksmith, for example. And now it's basically a company. He employs a dozen or so people that their full-time job is to make this cool stuff. And hey, if that's the kind of the direction we're going to go in, then I'm all for it.
Hacksmith tested a few of those.
Yeah. Although I duly note that Hacksmith also made his own version of the Mjolnir helmet, which was decent, but
but you're going to take it next level.
Mine's better. Mine's better. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely shows. And I think one of your latest videos, you mentioned that the initial funding was kind of going to the helmet stuff. So what's the next big thing that you're going to be focusing on after kind of wrapping up this initial work with the helmet?
Yeah. So the BDU, the heating and cooling system, the personal environment suit, and the helmet are all part of phase 1. I set aside of the budget around about £20,000 to focus exclusively on phase 1. It's going to come in once we've got the engineering done, because luckily I've still got contacts from the industry, from my career, to be able to call upon to get things done at a much cheaper price than would otherwise be
publicly available,
attainable. Yeah. It's it's not what you know, it's who you know in that regard.
It very much is.
But it's going to come in a little bit above. It's going to come in about 23, pushing 24,000, but it's still well within tolerable limits. Next stage is phase 2. Phase 2 is it's actually already in development, because I'm personally heading up the finishing up of the helmet and the BDU, obviously because it's tailored to me. To my exact physical dimensions, so really the only person that can kind of finish that aspect is me. So phase 2 is already under development. Phase 2 involves the development of the exoskeleton system, the heavy exoskeleton system that will actually carry the armor plates down the line, as well as the actual power system and the and actually mating that together with the body.
Okay.
So that we can actually pick up motion from the user and translate that into powered assist motion for the exoskeleton, so that the individual, me wearing
can actually move,
doesn't feel the weight, but can also move in it. We're taking a lot of consideration into how we're going about doing that, because obviously you need different articulators and different actuators based on different joints of the body, based on what kind of load they're under at any given time. And you also need certain response time. You don't need it lagging too far behind the user. And we're testing out two different control systems that will probably end up hybridizing and using both, which is one actually picks up physical motion from muscle contractions and the bending of joints effectively. So we have some that are electromyograph sensors that pick up the muscle impulse and translate that to a digital signal that can then be used to actuate. And others with flex sensors, which are basically variable resistors that as you bend them, so the resistance changes, and you can check that and use that as an input as well. So we've got those on joints to double check that motion in the muscle. We're also using what we're currently dubbing the proprioception frame. And the proprioception frame is basically a frame that it's going to be connected to those little, I've got them here, or I've got an example of them here. There you go, the little triangular plates that were on the BDU in the center of the chest and on other parts of the body. Okay. It will connect to those, and at every joint there is a sensor designed to detect the exact angle of each joint at any given time in respect to each other. And what we can do is we can take that information and feed that through to a robotic system that will then output to the articulation system, which will articulate it in mirror to the proprioception frame, which is quite complex in and of itself. But the technology already exists because the likes are, I mean, we've seen it in animatronics in movies since, I think it was actually first used on the set of Jurassic Park.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say Jurassic Park, but yeah.
Yeah, well, for the animatronic T-Rex they had a smaller scale T-Rex that they could physically move around, and then the big animatronic T-Rex would copy. It would mirror, yeah. It was first used. So it was first used on the set of Jurassic Park from a film side of things, but it's also been used extensively by surgeons for the past 20 or 30 years for keyhole surgery, specifically where they can use robots. And they use control devices effectively out away from the patient, where they can move different devices and the arms will respond to the surgeon. So, and I've struggled to find it again. I found it during my research, and I've really struggled to find it again. But I seem to remember a video of Elon Musk. Pretty sure it was Elon Musk, who had these like kind of robotic arms that he was holding onto, he was testing out and playing with, and he lifted them up like that, and a massive robot behind him mirrored the motion that he did. It might have been Elon Musk, it might not have been, maybe that's where I'm going wrong, it might have been someone else, but I seem to remember seeing a video of that, and I haven't seen it since, but that's basically what we're doing.
Either Elon or Boston Dynamics, probably one of the two.
Yeah, I should look into, because Boston Dynamics have done some fantastic stuff. Again, they're a big focus of a lot of the research I've done. Again, as I said the last time we spoke, I've been actively researching this for 15 years, 16 years now, technically. And to be here now and actually realizing it and realizing the technology that goes into Mjolnir already exists, it's just that no one's put it together in the right way yet, is a really strange place to find myself in. And as I recall as well, Elon is a fan of Halo. So maybe I need to reach out to Elon and make him an investor.
You're going to be the next Elon. You can see it now.
Yeah. Hey, Elon, I need your help with something.
You already mentioned you were a fan of the Warthog with the Cybertruck, so Halo.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Next thing you know, we see Installation 00 going on the Shark Tank.
Time will tell.
Oh man. Well, a lot of the progress that you've made on the armor has been really cool, and the GoFundMe is still up, and you're still taking contributions through the GoFundMe, and
yep.
I'm assuming some of your Patreon stuff is probably helping fund some of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, I've been researching it privately for a very long time, for 16 years. And I've made for all that time I was making private kind of contributions into figuring out small things and doing small prototypes and things like that for all this time. But it got to a point where like I said, when it came around to time to think, right, this is actually something that needs to happen. And once I realized I had the platform to be able to do this, to actually have a reputation that people would believe me, it would be believable, coming from me. and people would support me in that endeavor. It was a moment of realization of, I there are other people out there that are passionate about this that could help out and make this actually turn into a reality. And the response I've received from people who've supported the project, supported me, even people who haven't donated to the GoFundMe or to Patreon or to whatever else the case may be, but people have just liked the posts, shared them, got them out to a larger audience, but posted them on different forums and this, that, and the other, and just got the word out effectively, have been absolutely and utterly invaluable. And it's even seeing, I mean, the donations is fantastic anyway. We're just over 10% of the budget or 10% of the way there effectively, and just seeing those people donate their hard-earned money to a cause, to design and build a real-life working suit of Mjolnir, is just so cool.
Yeah, it really is,
and so humbling to have so many people's trust that they'll support something like that, and even seeing the same names month to month. It's almost like they've set up a direct debit or something, and they're donating the same quantity of money each month to keep things going. It's just so cool, and I can't thank everyone who's donated so far and supported the project and liked and shared and commented and gotten involved, and even the people who actually are working with me to do this. I just can't thank all of them enough. It's just insane, absolutely insane.
Well, you definitely deserve it. I mean, the work that you've put in and what you've shown so far is, I think a lot of people can probably agree that you definitely have shown you're capable and that you're going to be able to pull this through, whatever the outcome is going to be. So, yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, just coming in here each morning and seeing that thing sat on the side is just like, I can't believe this is real. This is so cool.
Right. So that's a lot about the armor that you're working on. What about some of the other content? Like, you've branched out a little bit more since we talked last on your YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I think when we were on last year, you mentioned starting to dig into lore core and kind of branching out a little bit.
Yep. That's right.
And then obviously you continued on with some of your normal kind of classic series, like Most Detailed Breakdown, Armory, Lore and Theory. So what's kind of the last year of content been like? You still kind of doing the same stuff? And
I've mixed things up a little bit. I've for a long time I stepped away from a few of my more popular playlists, my more popular kind of styles of content. I stepped away from Armory for quite a long time, where I was sort of reviewing weapons. I stepped away from...
Probably only so many things in the Armory that you can do until a new game comes out, so that makes a little sense.
This is true. This is true. I stepped away from Mythos, classified materials. The lore and theories dropped down quite dramatically, and the Most Detailed for quite a long time went without any love, just because I was caught up with a lot of other stuff I was doing with Installation 00, like the Cartographer series that me and Dashi were doing, and a few other things I was doing, and alongside doing everything else I was doing with the other channels and getting them up and running. But more recently, and we're talking within the last 2 or 3 months, I've returned to form.
Okay.
Returned to lore and theory videos. Returned to Most Detailed Breakdowns. Classified materials making a return. Mythos has already made a return. Armory has already made a return. So yeah, I've kind of returned to my kind of old style content, but also keeping hold of Project Mjolnir and a few other things that people have sort of grown accustomed to seeing from me, while simultaneously still growing these other 3 channels. The lore core specifically, as I've quite enjoyed starting to collate a large backlog of content for that, focused at things like Mass Effect, Deus Ex, Crisis, Doom, things, just different game franchises. Because one, I'm extremely passionate about a couple of these games. I mean, Mass Effect, Deus Ex, amongst Halo, obviously, as some of my favorite game franchises of all time. And getting the opportunity to give them the same treatment that I've given Halo has been fantastic. But it's also mainly, and it's terrible to say, it's a survival tactic. because there was a big boom in excitement right when Halo Infinite launched. I saw one of my most profitable months in December through to January, with the launch of Halo Infinite, and the amount of views that everything was getting just went through the roof. And February, it just died. It was just gone. And since February, every single month now, content has it's just not hitting the same chords. And I the only thing I can chalk it up to, just through being as entrenched in the community as I am, the only thing I can chalk it up to is that the community are just devastated with the state of Halo at the moment. And I mean, Halo Infinite, I've really enjoyed Halo Infinite. I'm probably one of the very, very small minority of people that really enjoyed the Halo TV series.
We're there with you.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
We had an episode to talk about the whole series when I had a chance to binge watch it, because I wasn't gonna. Yeah.
So but because of a kind of a few knock-on effects, and the kind of state of the gaming franchise in general, like the gaming industry, sorry, not franchise, the gaming industry in general. The trouble with microtransactions, the culture of crunching within game industry creators, and some changes in management and some changes in creative direction of Halo, amongst a lot of others. We've ended up with this really unfortunate situation now where interest in Halo is, despite being within a year of the launch of the most recent game, is at an all-time low. And it's absolutely devastating to see that, and to see how much community are hurting, and they're crying out for changes to be made. So, like I say, the diversification of my content over to other things is a desperate survival tactic, because and I'm not alone. A lot of the other content creators are doing the same thing. I know Hidden Xperia, he's now branched out. He's doing Metal Gear Solid. He's doing SCP stuff and things like that. It's awful that Halo canon has decided I'm done. I'm stepping out.
Yeah.
I mean, that was I've been a Canonite since before I was Mr. 00. So to see Halo canon disappear has just been devastating. It seems like in the past kind of year and a bit, 2 years maybe, some big names within the content creators have just gone, and it's leaving us with these huge unfillable voids, and yet we're still not getting this boost that the community sorely needs to get back on track. Halo Infinite had so much promise in the way that they initially responded to the struggles, trials, and tribulations that they had in regards to COVID and the reception of the art style and a few other things like that. They were very quick to change that and to turn things around, and they've responded and evidently listened to the criticisms of Halo 5 and Halo 4 and the art style debates and this, that, and the other. And that first trailer where we see the Chief's helmet and it's that perfect E chord that you remember from Marty O'Donnell's score of Halo 3 was instant nostalgia, and it had so much promise to pull us back to that golden era of Halo, and it's flopped, and it's so heartbreaking to see. And
one of I think one of the things that you kind of touched on, it's a lot of the community has really, it's a lot of tough times to really just look at the game and be like, okay, like the campaign, I think, has been almost universally praised for kind of how the campaign's gone, but the multiplayer, which has been the life and breath of Halo for quite some time, has just suffered. But for those that are still around and loyal to the cause, it's kind of slim pickings for people that are kind of more in and out. But
I mean, from a content creation standpoint, just for me personally, I mean, Halo Infinite launched and I thought, great, it's Zeta Halo. The lore that Zeta Halo is saturated in is absolutely unprecedented. We're going to have an enormous lore drop, and there's going to be so much content to do things on. And when you really boil it down on what happened actually in the campaign, when you really boil it down to its bare bones, it didn't really touch on any of it. It brought in the Endless, a new faction. It more thoroughly explored the Banished, a faction that we'd been introduced to in Halo Wars. But aside from that, it didn't really touch the history of Zeta Halo. It didn't touch ancient humanity. The Flood aren't involved.
And that's a big question mark, I think, of because Microsoft had, or 343 had this whole, it's a 10-year platform. So I could see one side where it's setting up the platform to maybe bring some of that stuff in. But now with 343 trying to focus on fixing the bugs in the game and for content, that possible DLC or whatever is going to be the next kind of campaign story has been put on the back burner. So
exactly, and again, it's another kick to the community that want this to be as good as it possibly can be.
And it's not like 343 is like intentionally trying to.
Oh yeah, cool.
It's just that's how the gaming industry, unfortunately, is. It's a very cutthroat.
It's not like they're actually going out of their way to to purposefully undermine and destroy Halo, because that's contrary to their best interests.
Exactly.
But it's you're absolutely right. It's the culture of the gaming industry has changed, and also I think the culture of the community has changed fundamentally,
and the expectations. I
was exactly about to touch on it. The expectation of, I don't like this, so it shouldn't exist, but I like this, so it should. I want the same, but I want different. I want something new, but I want you to keep it nostalgic.
Right.
It's like that's a really difficult list of requirements, and this, like I say, the expectation for this to be delivered that fast, when in any capacity, gaming, the development of a game is a difficult field at any time anyway, because there's so many interreliant systems in the process of developing a game. You tweak one thing, it can throw another thing out. So especially now with how much more sophisticated games are, not just the graphical fidelity, but the complexity of the system behind the scenes, the networking system,
the engine,
how they go, exactly the engine and all this. It's so much more complicated now.
Yeah.
That us to expect a fix to some big problems to happen that quickly is unreasonable to expect.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change that very loud outcry for the desire for change.
Sure.
And the longer it goes on, the more people are antagonized by it, and that obviously then fuels more frustrations, and it just becomes an awful cycle.
Yeah. And
I completely appreciate the community's frustration. I'm amongst them. I'm frustrated on how Halo Infinite could have been the rebirth of Halo. It could have really pushed Halo Infinite and Halo to the top of all the leaderboards all over again, like it did back in its heyday. Because I've been with Halo since the beginning, since Halo CE, and I've seen it rise, and I saw it how powerful the platform, the game and the platform became at the apex of Halo 3, and even carried through the ODST and with Reach, how powerful it remained. And then we've had this slope off. I'm amongst the community in my frustration for a desire for Halo to really attain its potential.
Yeah.
But I also completely and utterly feel sympathy for the developers to have to deal with this kind of situation, while also dealing with all of the strains and struggles and everything that's going on in the gaming industry in general.
Yep.
Dealing with the complexity of the system that it is in general, and also coming off of the back of a pandemic the likes we haven't seen in a century.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a complex and interlinked issue.
Yep. Well, and we were talking about this a little bit on our last podcast, or our last episode, but one of the main things is the studio is in between the gaming industry and execs who are demanding one part, and then the community who's demanding another part. And most of the time, those are at odds with each other, and it's the brunt of the developer. So you have the stakeholders in Xbox and Microsoft that are telling 343, hey, you need to do this. We need to do all this stuff. And then you have the community, and we have these demands, and then they're being smashed and pulled in opposing directions. So
that's it.
And gaming industry has, I think, ever since it's become mainstream, like mid 2000s, late 2000s in that area. That's where a lot of that strain and attention from the community side, and then the investment in stakeholders and publisher side of things. That's where a lot of the strain comes in. Because I think one of the universal arguments from the community is we don't want microtransactions. The whole customization, monetization, all that stuff, we don't want it. Yet that's what gamers' wallets are telling publishers and producers that's what sells games. So
exactly.
Yeah. But to get off that tangent real quick, though, before we wrapped up, I wanted to get your take a little bit, since you kind of mentioned the Silver timeline with the TV show and seeing some of the differences and taking your technical expertise, seeing the differences between what we've seen in the lore of the games and the books from a technical standpoint to what we saw in the TV show. What are some of the notable differences that you picked out between the two?
I think obviously the most clear and indicative fundamental difference between the two that like I said, I've covered this a lot in the Gold versus Silver series, and I've been thinking about it a lot for additional lore videos I want to do anyway. The single biggest fundamental difference that's I think is the motivating factor as to why so many other things in the Silver timeline are so vastly different from what we see in the Gold timeline, all stems back to the way in which the Spartans were indoctrinated, the way they were conscripted into the UNSC. And I covered that really heavily in one of the episodes of Gold versus Silver. In the Gold timeline, or the game timeline, Chief and the other Spartan 2s were kidnapped as children, replaced by Flash clones, and were brought to Reach, where they were conscripted. And Halsey had a conversation with her AI assistant Deja right before speaking to the new Spartan children for the first time. And Deja recommended that she lie to the children in regards to why they were conscripted, why they were chosen. And Halsey shut it down and said, "No, I'm not lying to them. I'm going to tell them the truth, because if I lie to them, that runs risks that when they do discover the lie, they could turn against us." To which Deja responded, "Okay, well, in which case, maybe selective amnesia might be a good idea." So, no, we're putting these children through enough. Deliberately erasing parts of their memory could make them even more volatile and push them further than they already have been. We're not doing that either. Then she went and spoke to the children, and she told it how it is. You've been called upon to serve. You won't be seeing your families again, but you are the best of humanity, and we will make you into the best of humanity, and we need you to fight this fight for us, because if you don't, humanity's doomed, basically, in paraphrasing.
Yep.
In the Silver timeline, the exact opposite happened. In the Silver timeline, that Halsey, which I despise that Halsey, but I love hating her.
Right.
Because
I think the most of the community with Palmer, it's like people don't like Palmer because of the kind of lines that she throws down, but like she's exactly the type of character that you would see in the military. So yeah. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
The original Halsey I love because she's morally grey. She's there's a lot of depth and complexity to her character, and over time, even her particular approaches to things changes fundamentally. And it's just fascinating to see that process happen. With this Halsey, she's very black and white, and she's the war criminal that the more recent games, have told us Halsey is, when in reality that's just the opposite of naval intelligence picking their fall guy.
Yep.
But in the Silver timeline, she really is the freaking war criminal.
Yeah.
And like I said, the polar opposite happens. She lies to the Spartans from the get-go. She manipulates the Spartans. She literally, I've checked. She ticks all of the boxes for a narcissistic sociopath. So credit to Natasha who plays Dr. Halsey. I don't know if she's fully aware or she did the research or whatever like that, but she literally has got the portrayal of this Halsey down and ticks every single box perfectly to classify a narcissistic sociopath. And she lies to the children, she manipulates them, she controls them. She controls practically everything around her.
Yep.
She goes through that whole selective amnesia effectively through the implant in the lower spine.
Yep.
And all of that culminates in almost being I suppose if you wanted to look at it like this, it's almost a what if series, where what if Halsey lied to them? What if Halsey did do selective amnesia rather than telling them the truth and doing what she did in the Gold timeline? And when you look at it like that, then everything else starts to make sense, because then John, for the first time ever, is feeling emotions. For the first time ever, is realizing he's been lied to his entire life. For the first time ever, realizes his family was killed by the Office of Naval Intelligence, probably under the instruction of Dr. Halsey. He was replaced by a Flash clone, a mocker, a sort of a physical mockery of himself that would eventually die and perish shortly thereafter.
Right.
Anyway, all of his military career, he's been sent to kill both aliens and humans. He was there with the apparently from that flash or from that conversation he had with Quan. He was there and attacked the insurrectionist gathering that was actually peaceful, but he was given orders to kill.
Yep.
So he has followed orders. He's taken human lives. He's been lied to. He's been manipulated. He's been controlled. Everything you could possibly do to a soldier.
What if the complete opposite thing happened? I like that. I like that.
Soldiers are in a difficult position enough with having to deal with the horrors of war, the theatres of war, and we were even touching upon that in Halo 4 that the Spartan 2s were damaged, and they were, and they are, because they've been through horrific conditions in order to save humanity, but they do so because it's their charge. You add on top of that all that other crap, and you push a soldier to their breaking point. Even a soldier as powerful and as strong-minded and strong-willed with as broader shoulders as the Master Chief has, you push him to breaking point, and that's what you get. You get a soldier then who's defying orders, who's not seeing things rationally or clearly, who's experiencing his emotions for the first time ever, who's experiencing rage for the first time ever, who's experiencing physical attraction for the first time ever, who's experiencing all these different aspects of the human condition that we've had our entire lives to adjust to and to come to terms with. He's going through all of that in minutes.
Yeah, just a
and
crash course.
Yeah, so of course it was the storyline that was told was going to be erratic and was going to be difficult, and that's just ignoring what was going on behind the scenes in regards to the development of the TV series, in regards to it obviously involved two different companies in the first instance. The second series is now only being run by Paramount. I know Showtime were involved
in the first one.
In the first one, they're not in the second one.
Okay.
And Showtime tend to lean more towards drama, love story, kind of that sort of aspect of things. And Paramount lean more towards the hard sci-fi action kind of thing. So there's hope for season 2 already. And from what I'm seeing through social media and obviously through something of a professional acquaintanceship, is that a word? With Pablo, the Master Chief. Season 2 is already looking like it's a big step away from what season 1 was.
Okay,
but in all the right ways. So interesting.
And, all right.
And obviously at some point the conversation between myself and Pablo is going to happen as well. We made it. It was relatively public that me and Pablo were going to sit down and have a chat.
Okay.
When the TV series was first airing, or shortly after the TV series was first airing, then due to the negative response that was happening, and how aggressive it became in quite a short space of time, myself and Pablo made the decision.
Hold on.
Let's step away. Let's just hold back a bit and give it some time to just settle and to calm down, and we'll readdress this. And we've since spoken, and it's more than likely going to happen as me and him are going to have our sit down and our proper conversation and really flesh things through on the rise up to season 2 being aired.
That's great.
So that's still going to happen. It's just on the back burner, and he's great as well. Like,
I'll admit I'm a little jealous.
Talking to him, he's just he's great. He's fantastic. He's I don't know. He's just such an easy guy to talk to. Yeah, it's and the fact that I was brazen enough to actually, reach out to him in the first place on Twitter of all places, and he responds in character to me to do it. What was his exact words? I serve humanity. If you do too, then we should talk. And it was like, oh yeah, this is
that's
happening.
really cool.
This is happening.
Well, I will be on the lookout for that.
I'm still going to rub it in his face that my helmet's probably better than his as well. But that's by the by.
May ask for a favor later, but we'll see.
Yeah.
No, that'll be really cool. We'll definitely keep an eye on for that when it comes out. They haven't announced a release or anticipated release for season 2, right? They just said it's in production and it's
yeah. It's in production. He's back to work. He's doing what he does. I know he's been on holiday. He's been here, there, and everywhere. He had some chill time in a few places. I think he's been in Europe quite a lot actually, and he's back to work by all appearances. And then they're surging ahead. So
great to hear.
I would imagine once production's out of the way, that I think he said he wanted. I think they were aiming on getting practically all of production out of the way by definitely over the summer. I think maybe September, end of September to September to October. I think he said, as I recall, production will be hopefully out of the way, and then it's all post-production, then all the CGI and all that sort of stuff. Then hopefully, maybe
in the spring.
Maybe in the spring we could see season 2 being out. In which case, you might be expecting mine and Pablo's chat in
January, February, somewhere in there.
January, February, somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that kind of time. Fingers crossed.
That's going to be one heck of an interview.
It is. Yeah. I'm going to make sure. I'll make sure I touch all the bases and dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And
that could be a long interview.
It could be. But I've recommended he get his favorite drink and relax into his chair a little bit, because I want to touch on obviously Halo. I want to touch upon that. I want to politely address some of the difficulties in season 1 and its reception and this, that, and the other, without going too deep into it, and focusing much more so on the future and how season 2 is going to pan out. But I also want to get to know him
as a character, or as a person, as an actor. Yeah.
And because it seems like, again, there's some parallels between himself and between him and myself. Sorry, we're both family men, both got kids. He's 6'5", I'm 6'4", so he's an inch taller than me.
so him and I are the same height then.
Oh, you're 6'5" as well.
I am 6'5", yeah.
Beast. Yeah, so
I should have hit you up when I was in London for. I was in London in December.
Oh.
Yeah. Next time I'm over there, I need to remember to reach out to you.
Please do. Well, actually, on that note, I renewed my passport recently, because I have all intention on getting out stateside. Probably, well, definitely next year. I want to get to some of the big events and this, that, and because the pandemic happened right at the start of when I started getting big.
Well, the closest thing that you have is either probably Insomnia or Insomnia from a LAN thing, then in Gamescom from a convention perspective.
Yep, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I have all intentions on getting out stateside and going to some of the big events and actually showing my face in person to some of these events, and hopefully networking with some subscribers and other people of the community, because it's not happened and it should have by now, but mitigating circumstances.
Yep. It's kind of
it is what
restarting
it is.
the train a little bit to get that going.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I know I've kind of taken you over the hour that I promised we'd probably try to stick to, but I want to open up the floor to anything else that you want to talk about before we have you on again next year, probably, and get another update on how Mjolnir is going.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll just be thundering in here in an entire suit by then, but I'd probably not.
Time will tell.
I'll definitely make sure if I do make out stateside next year, I'll at least bring the BDU.
Okay.
And show up to some events with that at least.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Aside from that, I don't know a huge amount else to touch upon. Obviously, I sort of try to stay relatively ear to the ground with what's going on across the community. I know you guys have been sort of doing your thing and keeping fighting the good fight. Like I said, I did notice you were covering the Halo TV series, but I know a lot of different places were covering the Halo TV series, and at the height of it, I was just thinking I just don't want to hear the negativity, so I kind of stayed away from everyone. But now I know that you guys are actually in support of it. I'm gonna dive in and go back over your content, because that'll be fun to have a look at.
There were a couple of things that were just like, not sure we agree with this specifically. I think the biggest thing that I think for us was a disconnect was how Cortana could appear without kind of any holographic projector type thing. That was the big like, okay, this really doesn't fit. But other than that, we were pretty. I think we were pretty even keel positive about.
It's like Cortana was injected directly into his brain, but somehow just can manifest in front of him. It's like, okay, just
and in front of others,
a projector built into it. Or I don't know.
Right.
So
that was the only okay. I think they slipped on this in production. That's like the major. Okay, this shouldn't fly, but everything else was like, okay, as long as you like separate out, this is a separate timeline within just kind of how the Halo universe, the core and the fundamentals of it exists. It's just like if you look at the Star Trek reboot or any other franchise that has a reboot of some kind. It's like, okay, this is within the universe as far as the foundations and the pillars and the functionality of how it works and the intricacies, but the story is just completely a separate tangent of what we know in the mainline campaign. So
well, fingers crossed they maybe try to fix a few of those things, kind of, going into season 2. Maybe Chief finally gets an upgrade and actually has a chip put in. That'll be kind of cool.
Maybe
so he can actually unplug her if he needs to. But
instead of having to tell her to shut up.
Yeah, just shut up.
Yep.
It's just that. I mean, to be fair, even like once they actually grew used to each other and they had that little bit of banter. I think it was after he got like beat up by the other members of Silver Team. That little bit of banter where she said, "Oh, I'll wait for a more or a less beat up model or something like that." And that little bit of banter between them was like, "Yes, that's Chief. That's Chief and Cortana."
When they got to the point where it's like, okay, because Chief had to get to that point where he trusted Cortana, and when Cortana proved herself to Chief, that when Chief started to open up a little bit, it's like, okay, maybe I'm not fully there yet, but I'm starting to get there. And now, I mean, you've seen the whole TV series, right?
Yeah.
But now at the end where it's Cortana in the suit and Chief, we don't know if Chief's actually alive or not.
Yeah. He's a Spartan. He's alive. He's having a nap, as Chief does from time to time.
Oh, Pins, you bring up a good point. Or I'm going to translate your point. The whole part where Cortana was talking about, I don't know if I can bring you back, because basically like overriding Chief's brain, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe the chip is something a way for her to download and kind of release herself from the brain.
Yeah. That could work.
Tag teaming it. Tag teaming it. And Pins,
that'd be cool.
And Pins, you nailed it, because that's what Martin said. It's a what if of Halo.
It frustrated me because when they actually took the fluid, I suppose, that was Cortana out of whatever device it is that generated it in the first place, they took it out of an AI chip.
Right.
Just use that. But I don't know.
Creative differences, or something.
Yeah, it's a few things like that were just like, what? Hang on. So, like Reth. Why not a jackal? Why couldn't he? If you wanted him to be human, okay, be human. Just don't name him Reth. Name him Graham, and he would have had the same effect. I don't know. Just. Or if you're going to call him Reth, actually make him a jackal. But I don't know. I'm not entirely.
Yeah, I mean it's. I'm sure there were reasons behind certain production elements, but
more than likely, But that's a good. I know. I like that. I like that could be a really good, cool way to finally get back to the whole chip Cortana. That would work.
Could be.
Hey, if this gets out to anyone, from Paramount or from the Halo TV series who are kind of thinking on little plot ideas,
yeah,
that one's just free and out there if you want it.
Well, because one of the cool things about Halo 2 was this, and Halo 3 was this fact that you were disconnected from Cortana. And Chief's whole thing was like keeping Cortana safe and going and rescuing her. And then obviously the story part of what the Halo TV show is going to be doing is going to be different, but
I think that's another
that
reason why
tension's always good for storytelling.
Yeah. I think that's another reason why in Halo CE 343 Guilty Spark was such an eerie level, because you grew so used to having Cortana talking you through all these different situations as you're going level to level to level to level. Then you get the 343 Guilty Spark, you've left her at the control room. So you're now alone and there's nothing. And it's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I'm on my own.
That's a good point. Yeah. Man, we gotta do this more often than once a year.
Yeah,
talk,
we do.
Talk
yeah,
some
we
more.
do.
Just talk
hit me
Halo.
up. Like I said, I'm making live stream, more of a common thing. If you've got 5 minutes,
Sure.
or an hour, or 2 or 3, just
I've wanted to jump on some of your chats in your Discord, but they're always right before our podcast, or they used to be, because they used to be on Thursdays.
Oh right, yeah. I've moved them to I've moved the general chats to Fridays, and generally speaking, if I'm doing a chat where I want to talk about stuff that I want to eventually put onto the 00 Lounge, that's usually on Saturdays.
Okay.
So
I'm about to drop into one of those at some point.
Yeah, we're also starting a community game night soon enough as well, where it'll probably be like almost hot seating. So it'll be like a big team battle on Halo Infinite. We'll go in with as many people as we can.
Rotate.
Then as we come back out, we'll just rotate and get new people, and so everyone gets a chance to game.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So yeah, if ever you feel like jumping in and having a game or two, just give me a shout.
Be happy to.
Nice.
And I'll extend the invitation to some of your listeners here too. We do ours on Fridays at 8:30 Eastern. It's a little late for folks in the UK. That'd be 1:30 your guys' time. But for those that are up late,
there's a lot of people in my Discord in my area that are still up at that time. So yeah.
But we've been playing a lot of Halo Infinite lately. I think they did Halo 5 last night. We always leave it up to a Discord poll on what game we play, but mostly do Infinite. And once we get a large enough party, we'll swap over from Fiesta or something to Big Team and play. So,
nice.
Yeah. We love Fiesta. That's one of our go-tos.
Nice.
So I did link in the Twitch chat for those who want to go and help contribute to the Mjolnir project, if people are interested in that. For those that are downloading the show as well, check out the description of the show, or check out our website and our Twitter. We'll post a link everywhere for people to go find out more information. Check out Installation 00 on YouTube for all of his project updates, all of his lore videos that he's doing and bringing back. So lots of really cool content that you're creating, and I'm still blown away with how hardworking of a man you are with the project, raising the family, doing all the videos, and just you are a workhorse, man.
It's a lot to do, but somehow I make it happen.
Somehow you do. Yeah.
You have to. There's no other choice.
True. That's very true. Well, floor is yours for any last minute plugs before we wrap this up. And again, thank you for being on.
Like I say, thank you for having me. Like I say, you've touched all the major bases. I'm on YouTube on 4 different channels: Installation 00, Lorecore Multiverse, the 00 Lounge, and Ambient Wonders. They all do different kind of content, so have a little look around and see what fits you best. Yeah, we're streaming more. We're on Discord. We're on practically every social media platform going. Project Mjolnir is surging ahead, and we've still got the GoFundMe live, and there's a roll call coming for getting more people involved who have experience in particular fields we're looking for. Interview with Pablo we'll get to we'll get to it eventually, and yeah, in general, I'm around. And hey, if you have any advice or any suggestions on events specifically, I should be keeping my eyes out stateside to in order to actually make a physical appearance, please let me know.
Well, I would definitely say World Championship if you can manage that, and the majority of the cosplayers hit up local Comic Cons. I think SDCC is probably the biggest one.
Okay,
and then PAX West is in Seattle, so it's 343's backyard.
Okay.
They're not doing anything special this year since they're kind of heads down crunch, but next year might be a little bit of a different story. But
fingers crossed.
Yeah. From my time in the Halo community and traveling to events and whatnot, I would say definitely check out the HCS events and some of the larger conventions like Gamescom, San Diego Comic-Con, RTX if you're into that kind of thing. I think they've kind of separated out a little bit from the Halo stuff a little bit. But PAX West is certainly another, I think, good opportunity. But yeah, if there's anything else people can think of, feel free to give Installation 00 a note in his Discord or on his Twitter. It'll be cool to see you come to the States and maybe actually meet you in person. I try to get to at least every... oh man, is that you gifting subs?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh wow, thank you, man.
Welcome.
That's a 10. Wow, All right, 10 gifted subs. That's usually Pins' job, but no, thank you so much for
Sorry,
contributing.
no, still Penn's job.
No, you're fine. We always joke
Thanks
around.
for plugging my channels there, by the way, Pens.
But yeah, it'll be hopefully great to see you in person. I go to at least all the World Finals for HCS, and I'm going to PAX this year for the first time since 2018 or 2019, when right before COVID hit. So I'm starting to pick up that convention and event train again myself.
I wonder if Outpost Discovery is coming back at any point.
That's a big wild card question at the moment. It'd be nice if it did. I know a lot of people want to see it to come back.
They never did it They never did it. Sort of Europe, over in Europe or in Britain. So
they had plans.
If that's coming back, I'll make sure I make my way out there.
I know they had plans before COVID hit, but then COVID threw everything off. So that's a big question mark. That I would love to see it come back.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe even with Mjolnir and everything, maybe I'll be pulled out to 343 Industries at some point, and they'll slap me with an NDA and a cease and desist.
Well, like what you're doing, but you need to stop.
Yeah, but you need to stop. Yeah. Nah, so far it's been all support from the guys at 343. So fingers crossed it stays that way.
Well, with everything that you've gotten support wise, like likes on Twitter from 343, Bungie, Xbox, and all that stuff,
Yeah.
You're hitting all the right notes, at least. So
long may it continue.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, Martin, for hopping on. Let's not wait a year before we do this again.
No. Sooner.
Yeah.
Much sooner.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks again for coming on.
Cheers.
And thanks everyone for in the Twitch chat for tuning in and listening, for all the new follows as well. Appreciate everything that you guys are doing to support Installation 00 and all of his shenanigans with all the lore videos and Project Mjolnir, and for the couple of follows. Thanks for coming on over. And we do our main podcast Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's 1:30 UK time. Game nights on Fridays at the same time as well. So if you're up and are interested in listening to the normal podcast or want to come play with us, feel free to hit us up. So thanks to everybody. We're out here. We will catch you guys somewhere on the internets.
Take it easy.
Whether it's in Halo or whether it's another podcast. Thank you for listening to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. You can find our podcast on your favorite podcasting service and listen to us live every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Check out our website, podtacular.com, and join the community on Discord at podtacular.com/Discord. If you want to play Halo with us, come join us for Fraggin' Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and Achieving Halo on Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Become a supporter of the show by sharing the show with your friends and family, or help keep the lights on by subscribing to us on Twitch, donating via PayPal, or becoming a patron alongside Confowl, Pins Halo, and Prestige Ace. Until next time, keep on fragging trucks.